Hey Logan! Logan was standing by his locker when he heard someone calling out to him and he turned around. Hey Victor, you're late. I'm sorry about that. My mom's stuck in traffic. Yeah, that happens. Victor is Logan's best friend. So, anything else going to happen this weekend? It was Friday and both Logan and Victor had been talking about what was going to do for this weekend. Um, I don't know, said Logan. I really haven't got much any plans for today. Well, how about, my place? We have a whole weekend of playing video games, as always. Yeah, yeah, you know what? I'm up for it, since I don't have anything else planned for this weekend. Yeah, so that's all. So, by the way, have you heard anything more about from the coach about your upcoming soccer game against his neighbor's school? Not much. Only that the game is gonna be taking place around within the next 2 weeks. Oh, but who do you think was gonna win this game though this time? Yours, ours, or theirs? Ours, definitely, as always, said Logan and laughed. Yeah, that's. I mean, considering that you are the soccer team leader and you're one of the best players in the school has since what, like 20 years ago or something like that, said Victor. Yeah, that makes sense, said Logan back. You know, I should probably hurry up before I get late to first class. Yeah, I see you at lunch break. You bet. Logan went to his first class and Victor to his. It was actually not much anything that's quite important. Logan was actually having his first class in English. So during that class though, he did actually was just thinking about this soccer that's gonna happen in the next 2 weeks, and even though he knows that his school has a better chance, but even though he still wonders if his team ever would they actually win this time also. But as they were having a class, he was trying to focus on his work when he noticed a girl was looking at him. And that was actually Sandra. Sandra was the school's bully, but also she was a cheerleader. And everyone know, including Logan, that Sandra has a crush on him. But Logan was not even interested, no matter what, in Sandra. Even though she had made several attempts and hints that she did like him more as a friend, but he always was trying to avoid that as much as topic with her as much as possible. But even though he really wished that he could just tell her that he's not interested in her, but even though he did once try to make a hint to Sandra, but a couple of months ago, saying that he tried to convince her that he was not much interested in her, but she told that she took that as a joke, so he literally gave up hope or tried to convince Sandra or anything. So around the lunch break that's later on, Logan was sitting by with Victor and a few others at the table. They were just talking about the upcoming soccer game and all that, when suddenly they heard a voice behind them. Logan? Logan turned around. He was expecting to see Sandra. But it wasn't even Sandra. It was actually Amanda. Amanda was a shy, bit nerdy girl at school, but she was among many students that Sandra was bullying. She always called her ugly girl, stupid, nerdy girl that no one will ever be dating, and that hurts her. But she was really surprised, but well, Logan was a bit surprised because they were friends. But he's like, yeah, hey man, Amanda, what can I do for you? I wanted to ask you something, if you could maybe help me with my math? Um, yeah, I mean, hey, don't talk to him. Leave him alone, you nerdy, stupid girl, said someone in the background. Both Logan and Amanda turned around and saw Sandra standing there with crossed arms. Haven't I told you? Nerds are not allowed to talk to them, especially my man. And Logan just rolled his eyes when she said that. But before he could say anything to defend Amanda, Sandra repeated, Leave or I will do something about it. Amanda was terrified of Sandra, so she didn't say another word, she just turned around and walked away crying. Even though Logan for once he felt such anger, but he just turned around and went back eating and talking to his friends. But Sandra, she was standing there for a more few seconds before she turned away and walked to her table. I can't believe she could just doing that, said Logan. You heard your bold about that, said Victor. And the others agreed. They understand no one actually didn't have the guts to stand up against Sandra. But there was nothing else they could do, because she had bullied many others before, and some of them had been bullied so severely, they were so terrified that they would even do anything to us, like even to speak up or even inform anyone. But luckily though, Sandra has never actually physically harmed any of the students that she has been bullied. That is the one thing that she knows, that if that happens, she could have been expelled easily. So she decided only to be verbally abusing or bullying students. Ever since Logan, Victor, and Sandra started high school, they were really very good friends before that. But ever since they started high school, something changed in Sandra's mind. Because of that, Logan and Victor, they started to hang out less and less with Sandra. Because in her mind, she felt that she was more superior than anyone else. And she even claimed that there were these rules that Hopper students were not allowed to hang out with any nerdy persons or nerdy students, no despite what. But there aren't any such rules, said Logan to Victor when they heard about it. Yeah, that is true. I don't even think there are such rules. They both remember when they found out about Sandra's supposed official school rules. But Logan really hoped that maybe one day all this could change, and that Sandra could change her mind, her personality, and go back as she was used to be, as a goofy, fun person to be with. But now she was complete opposite. She was cold, very ruthless, cruel, bullying, and there was something that Logan and Victor was really much against, especially Logan. Logan was, despite all this, hated bullying. And not only because his school has a non-bullying policy, but since no other victims of Sandra has never speak up, so there are no teachers, not even a principal, no one was even aware of this. Because Sandra has been terrified them so much of her bullying, she had literally broken them at a point that they didn't want to be speaking up about anymore. But this is only like Logan had found out because he has seen at least a few students have been bullied by Sandra. And even though he wished that he just could stand up against her, but even if he managed to try to tell a teacher or a principal about this, they would probably ask the student if this is true, that these accusations they have been bullied. But if they said no, that's not true, then there would not be enough proof to expel or suspend Sandra. Because if there are no other victims willing to stand up and testify against her, there was not much else that they can do, unless if they that unless that Logan had somehow a video recording of this or something. But other than that, there was nothing else anyone could do, which very much hated was really much, pretty much, very painful for Logan, because he used to be bullied back himself in elementary school. That was something he was terrified ever since. But ever since he started middle school, when he ended up being learning from to be friend with Victor and Sandra, he stood up against their bullies as well once. But this time, he had no idea what to do. Hey, Logan, are you still thinking about something? What? Logan was just sitting there thinking about all that has been going on. Sorry, I was just thinking. Sandra, you bet. You know, you should probably do something about it. What can I do? There's much I can do. So Logan felt he was hopeless. After school was over, he was standing by his car when he noticed Amanda standing by a sidewalk by herself on the phone. So, alright, yeah, I understand, Mom. Yeah, no worries, I will get my home. Yeah, okay, bye. Logan walked up to Sandra, to Amanda. Hey, Amanda, is something okay? Oh, yeah, my mom had to be overtime at work, so she can't be picked me up. You know, I can drive you home. I mean, you don't live that far from where I live. Are you sure? Positive. Okay, sure. So in the car, they were just small talking about the day and something like that. Amanda brought up the topic about soccer game, and she said that she was going to watch a game to just support the school team and all that. But even though that Sandra herself probably would say, "You're not allowed to go to the soccer game," she said to her once. But that was even not at school time, it was after. And it's like a home game. And Sandra was not even the one who's telling you can't go. I'm told that too, but she said, despite that, but you're not allowed. If you even dare show up, I will make pay for it. You know that? I wish someone can tell her about it. Yeah, me too. After that, Logan had dropped her off. He went home and he just do his homeworks and just watched some TV until his parents came home. His parents, they weren't even aware of Sandra's bullying because he didn't know what to say. But all of that would eventually change, because for the next few days, Sandra's rampage against Sandra and other students, it just continued as normal. But this day, Logan had enough. But as he was sitting with his best friend, Victor, and a few others, he was actually hearing a voice behind her. Logan? Ah, hey Amanda. How are you doing? Doing fine. Can you maybe help me with my homework? As I need your help. Of course. How about this? What did you just say about us? Really? Really? Yeah. There's all of the space up here. Hey, you're not allowed to sit there, said someone behind them. And you saw a man, Sandra, standing there like almost right in your face. As she saw that Amanda was about to sit down. But then Amanda immediately was standing up again. Don't worry, just go sit down. You can sit here with us. Excuse me, Logan? Said Sandra. Sandra, just drop it. The rules you said doesn't even exist in this school. That's your own rules. And in fact, I don't even care if Amanda is a nerd or not. She is allowed to talk to anyone she wants to, even if that's me. And also, Amanda, I have to ask something. Yeah? How would you like to be my girlfriend? What, excuse me? Says Sandra once again more loudly. How dare you? You're supposed to be with me, said Sandra, almost angered even more. Amanda is the only one I really care about. What do you say, Amanda? He looked at her with a smile. Are you sure? Positive. Then she nodded and actually started crying out of joy for once. But then Sandra just walked up to them and said, "You have 5 seconds to stand up and leave this table, or otherwise I will do something." Do what? You have been threatening a lot of students in this school, said Sandra, and I'm tired of that. Just turn around and walk away. But just do as I said. Turn around, walk away, and just ignore. Sandra, Amanda is my girlfriend now. And if you even dare to even harm her, or me, or anyone else, you will have the last word against you. I do promise you that. Then Logan saw that Sandra was so almost boiling of anger. She wanted to hit either him or Amanda, but she didn't. She just turned around and walked away, screaming in the hallways as she was frustration. "Hey, good for it," said Victor and gave a high five to Logan. "So, well, Amanda, welcome to the team," he said. She smiled and thanked him, and they all enjoyed the rest of their lunch. And the next couple of days afterwards that, Logan was actually happy now he has been dating Amanda first officially. And after since then, Amanda has still received threats from Sandra, but Amanda always told him about it. And Logan, despite he said that he would do something about it, but hasn't. But eventually things would end up too much difference, because as the soccer game goes around the corner, Logan was with Victor, since both Victor was also part of the soccer team. They were just talking with the coach. They were talking about who was gonna be what and the type of strategy we had. And the coach said, "Well, I will see you guys tomorrow in the soccer field. And get a lot of rest." "You bet," said the both team to the coach. And on the way to their cars. "So, what do you think? Do you think we have a chance against this school?" "You bet. I mean, we have been practicing a lot this recently, so I don't think they have a chance against us." "Yeah, that's true." And then they actually went to the soccer the next day, and as it was nearly tied, after it was near the end of the game, there was a tie between the two schools. Logan was trying to get the next point, the final score, but he saw that was impossible because the other team was almost preventing him from doing that. But then he made something that the team didn't expect. He kicked the ball backwards. That they didn't expect, because he used it not his. He didn't turn around and kick the ball backwards. No, he had the foot in front of him, and before the other team could even approach him, he kicked the ball backwards. But they was like, "Wow, okay, why?" But then they didn't expect another team player, Victor. Victor got the ball and managed to run out around the opposing team and make the final score. After the soccer was over, the opponent team actually gave Victor and Logan very much a high five for this amazing, intense battle, this game. Even though despite they didn't like this goal that much, but they respected Logan and Victor and the other teams because they are actually very good opponents. And they said next time we'll win against you. "Bring it on," said Victor with a laugh, and the others, even both teams laughed about it, but they didn't hate each other. They only played to be fun of it. But as they were on the way to the cars that same evening, "So, do you have any plans for this tomorrow?" Logan asked Victor. "No, I was actually supposed to be with Amanda, but she had some other plans in mind, so yeah, I don't mind that. So, What do you have in mind? How about we meet at your place? Play video games? You bet it, said he. So that same later the next day, Logan and Victor were just when playing video games and just having a good time. But there was something in his mind because he was thinking about Amanda. She hasn't even reached out to him the whole day, but since she was going to spend time with her family, he'd expected maybe that she won't be able to do so. But even so, he had a hope that maybe they could see each other or at least talk to each other. You know, she will talk to you later on, maybe in the evening, said Victor back. Yeah, you're probably right. And he was right, because that same evening after Victor left, Amanda called and said that she had just missed him so much today and she had a good time with her family. And even though it was something on her mind, she asked him if he would like to go out with him on a date maybe the next day. Since both of them didn't have any particular plans, so he agreed. So they were going out to have a pizzeria in town to have a date and walk around. But as they didn't know what was going to happen that same day, something that would drastically change their lives. They were met up at this small diner in town and just having a good time. They were talking about the soccer game and some other random stuff. But as they were about to leave this small diner, they were just about to cross the road when a car was approaching from a different direction towards them. He immediately saw this car was increasing speed, and he saw that it was rushing right towards them. And as he saw that the car will hit both of them at the same time, so he managed to grab Amanda, pushed her away from it, and as he did that, the car, bang, hit her right in his shoulder, right in his side of him, and he flew up on the car and broke the windshield on the car window and fell off on the ground as the car itself continued driving and hit a light pole only like half a block away. People was gathered around the scenery. Immediately, people called for an ambulance. But Amanda, she was freaking out, seeing her own boyfriend lay on the ground, unconscious, bleeding, unknowing if he was going to live or not. Amanda was really much freaking out, like she had no idea what to do. But as she saw that the ambulance also arriving soon, fast as she hoped, and police arrived, and this caught this person in the car. Turns out it was a drunk driver, and he was really so wasted. But Amanda, she was standing there petrified, and she had no idea. And as she saw they were putting Logan in the ambulance, she immediately snapped out of it and immediately called Victor. Hey Amanda, what's up? Logan! Whoa. Logan's in the ambulance! Whoa. Calm down. What? What do you mean? Logan is in the ambulance. Whoa. What? Why? He's been hit by a car. What? Wait, where? Where are you? And she explained what happened. She told them where she was to find her, and said, "Don't worry, I'm on my way. Don't worry, stay there. I'll be there in like 10 minutes or so." And after like 15 minutes later, Victor did show up in his car, and he did see that there were still people. The police were still there, asking the witness for any witnesses and all that. And he found Amanda terrified, crying. She really snapped out of it. She told them what happened, and she was terrified. But then he said, "Hop in the car. We will arrive in the hospital immediately. You can call his parents on the way. You can use my phone. And they did. On the way to the hospital, Amanda tried to be calm enough to tell Logan's mom what happened. But at first, she was babbling so much, she was so crying so much, and so Victor had the phone on speaker, and he then said that what happened. And they had heard another from the other end, this bang sound. Turns out the shock of Logan's mom hearing her son was in the hospital after especially this car accident, she fainted. And suddenly the phone was picked up. Hello? Who is this? Sir, this is Victor. What happened? What is my wife fainting on the floor? What happened? Tell me. Then Victor had to explain once again, and he can also even hearing that Amanda was crying, which means that it was really serious. Okay, do you know exactly which hospital? Since there are two of them in town. No, but I think it's the... And then he named the hospital. Alright, I will see you there. Thanks for letting us know. So they drove all the way to the hospital. Doctors there was telling them that Logan had to be immediately rushed into surgery after they found out his condition. As the hours passed, Logan's parents, Victor, and Amanda were sitting in the waiting room, and they was waiting for any possible answers from the doctor. After nearly 15 hours of waiting, the doctor walked out, and he said that Logan was okay, but he was a very critical condition. He wasn't sure if Logan would even survive or not, but since he was in critical condition for the next 12 hours, they were not allowed to see Logan since he was in ICU. But they said that by the next as possible tomorrow. Logan's parents was terrified, especially his mom was crying her eyes out. Since Logan was the only child, and he was their only son, and she could not even have imagined to lose her own son in this after the disaster. Amanda, hearing those words from the doctor, made her crying as much as Logan's mom did. Victor was devastated. He could lose his best friend. So Victor told Amanda that he will take her home, and he did. And even though that Amanda didn't go to see Logan at the hospital for the next couple of days because she couldn't bring herself to go there to see him in the ICU. But then, after about almost a week, she received a phone call from Victor. Yeah? I have some news about Logan. Is he? No. He's fine. He has left the ICU and he is in a different room this time, and he's awake and he's talking but tiredly. He asked if you could come over to see him. Yeah, can you pick me up? Yeah, I can do that. So Victor picked her up and they drove to the hospital. She was very devastated, but at least happy that Logan was in better condition this time. But according to the doctor that he may have to stay in the hospital for some time because despite what he had been through, the serious these conditions could have been a lot more worse. A lot more. Logan had a very severe concussion and several broken ribs, broken arm, and even a broken leg. But other than that, he was perfectly fine. He was getting better, and doctors said that he may have to stay in the hospital for a longer period of time before he gets healed. But during that time, though, Amanda gets to see Logan at the hospital every single day just to have an update about what's happening in school, about her life. And even through that time, a lot of the students from school, especially his soccer team and the coach, had actually been there to visit him. He's telling him, but the team has decided to wait to make a break until he's better. But he said, you guys can continue play. And you know what? I put Victor as the next team captain until I'm on my feet again. The team laughed, but they knew that he was serious. And Victor was actually not even that bad captain himself, and he promised to make sure that they wouldn't lose another game. But sadly, they lose one game. But Logan, when he found out about it, he said like, it's not a big deal. I mean, I did lose my first game when I became the team captain. And after some time, he actually made a full recovery and went back to school. But it was something that even for most happened. After everything was back to normal, Sandra, she had heard about his accident. She even went to see him as well, and even though she sees it very severe that she regret what she said about him, but she was serious about that. But despite this, her bullying against others and Amanda hasn't even stopped. And in fact, while Logan was gone, she continued to bully others. And Logan, now when he was back, he had finally got tired. So one day when he was in the hallway, without Sandra knowing it, he saw that she was bullying Amanda. And this time, he pulled out his phone and put a recording. And he was like, now I have enough evidence. So after that, he went straight to the principal, Jennifer, telling her what's been going on. And at first, when he said this, Sandra? The cheerleader? Being a bully? Yeah, that's hard to believe. There is a lot more than that, said Logan. There's a lot more victims that you don't even know. Some of them are not even want to be willing to step out to confront or even to witness all this, but I do have proof. Oh? What can I prove? And then he showed her recording on the phone. As the principal was just looking at it. Her face from concern to almost anger. This is far enough that I cannot accept this. She were well aware of this non-bullying policy the school had. In fact, there was a previous principal who put that in order. And she immediately called it for Sandra to come over to school, to the principal. Can Sandra please come to the principal's office, please? Can Sandra please come over to the principal's office, please? Thank you. And as Sandra walked over to the principal's office, because she has never been in any such problem before, and she maybe thought maybe the principal was needing her help with something, but when she saw that Logan was there, she still didn't get what was happening. Yeah, I'm here. What can I help you with? The principal was trying to act very much professional, but even though that despite that she was filled with anger, but she tried to act professionally as best as possible. Sandra, I had been received some bad information what has been going on here at school. Can you please enlighten me? Have you been bullying anyone particular at the school before? No, I have never done such things. You know that I don't have that. I mean, the school doesn't even allow bullying. And if anyone does it, they will immediately be suspended for 2 weeks or even expelled. But no, I had never done it. But then, Logan showed his phone with recording. And Sandra was stunned. Sandra had been caught in a lie. And the principal looked at her and said in a serious tone in her voice, Sandra, it's no point to start lying right now. With this evidence, as Logan showed him on his phone, and he told me there are a lot of witnesses has been telling you this, including his own girlfriend Amanda, which is in this video, can confirm you have been bullying her. So do you know what you said? I give you this. Come clear now, or you've been get the punishment. But Sandra had no explanation, because now she knows that she has been caught in a lie. She couldn't make another lie because it only makes it worse. But then Sandra said, "But is that my fault? I mean, they are nerds, and I am a popular girl, and poppers are not supposed to be talking to nerds. That means the common sense, isn't it?" But the principal interrupted her and said, "Sandra, that is not even school rules. I should know that. I mean, I have been reading rules since I started here. And in fact, when I was in high school, those rules didn't even exist in any school. That is not even official school rules, so don't lie about it. And I'm sorry to say this, Sandra, but you are expelled." Sandra was stunned, shocked, and didn't know what to do. And also, her parents had already been informed what you have been doing, and now they say this, they weren't happy, and they're going to send you to a different school of nobility. So go to your locker, take your things, and leave school property immediately. Thank you. Sandra was just standing there looking at Logan with a very much angry look, and he said, "This is your own doing. You knew this could eventually be found out." And then she realized that he was right. But no matter what she was trying to do, there was something she could do. So she just turned around, walked away, and that was the final anyone ever saw or heard from Sandra, except the last thing that anyone had heard about her is that she was taken to a different high school in a different state, and that was pretty much the last one anything they heard from her. Amanda and the other bullies, the other victims of Sandra's bullying, was pleased that she was gone, and that now they didn't have been wandering or being feared or walking around the corner to encounter. But at least Sandra was gone. Logan and Amanda's relationship remained strong at that point. In fact, they continued to do all kinds of things. And after they finished high school, both went to the same college in a different state. They actually had a great time there. But they've always had one thing in mind. Focus on their studies, and then the second would be their relationship. And after they both finished college, they decided to move back to their hometown, and Logan, he actually started working as a mechanic in town because he loved to work on cars. And Amanda, she loved to be working around animals. So she decided to apply for this small pet shop in town, which she was accepted in. And despite it all that happened, despite what they went through in the younger years, they were just still happy to have found someone they could be with. And after just for a few more years, they actually moved in together, and Logan actually proposed to Amanda, and she said yes. And they decided to have this small, close wedding with just close friends and family. Victor, of course, was Logan's best friend, which would end up to be the best man. Amanda actually had picked her best friend to be her bridesmaid. And since they wish they could go to this big honeymoon like Hawaii or Paris, but they decided just stay maybe in town and rent for a small cabin or something like for a weekend, which was a perfect fine for them both. Because to them, it doesn't mean that to them it wasn't necessary to have this big celebration, to do big honeymoon, to be showing their love with each other. But after a while, though, after a few years, Logan and Amanda found out they were expecting a baby, and they later learned they were expecting a baby girl, which they named Jenny, after this high school's old principal. Since the principal were actually Logan's godmother, and she was really felt proud and happy that they named their own daughter after her. And a few years later, they actually had a son, which they named Victor, after his best friend. Logan and Amanda couldn't have been happier to find someone like they could have been trusted and feel happy with. Despite what they went through in the younger years, with having been one of them being bullied severely, and one of them having almost lost his life in a car accident, despite how much they were such what they went through, but they remained happy. Especially when they had found a soulmate, and especially to be with someone they really cared so much about. And this is how Logan and Amanda found a true love and got a family together. The end.